The stench of blood and smoke hangs thick in the fog. Screams echo across the holy island. Monks who devoted their lives to prayer are hacked down at the altar. Sacred relics are smashed, treasures looted, and some captives, men, women, are chained and dragged to waiting longships. This is June 8, 793 AD. Lindisfarne, the sacred monastery off Northumbria's coast, is attacked. Historians call it the start of the Viking Age. The world learned that no place was safe, not even God's own sanctuary. But what happened to those taken alive? The truth is darker than the chronicles admit. Transition, dramatic music, historical illustrations of Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne was Christendom's jewel, home to St. Cuthbert's relics, a scriptorium preserving ancient texts, monks copying illuminated gospels. For over 130 years, it stood as a beacon of faith in a turbulent world. Rumors of northern pagans raiding coasts had reached them, distant whispers. The island believed itself protected by divine favor. That June morning, thick fog cloaked the sea. Watchmen saw nothing until dragon-prowed ships surged from the mist. The Vikings struck without warning. Monks rushing to greet what they thought were traitors met axes instead. Skulls split. Bodies fell. The abbot was beheaded at the altar, his blood-staining stones where he'd celebrated Mass for decades. In hours, the monastery was silent. Chronicles say monks were slain, some drowned, others taken in chains. The church was plundered, gold chalices, jeweled crosses, manuscripts burned or stolen. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records, "Heathen men miserably destroyed God's church on Lindisfarne by robbery and slaughter." Alcuin of York, horrified from afar, wrote of priests' blood-spattering altars, saints' bodies trampled like dung. But the raiders didn't kill everyone. Some were spared. First, slavery. Viking raids targeted monasteries for three reasons: immense wealth, weak defenses, and captives. Thralls, slaves, powered Norse society, farming, rowing, domestic work, even concubinage. Women and children were prime targets. Sources describe captives from British Isles raids sold or kept. A later account from Hedeby shows Christian slaves, including a nun ransomed by a bishop. For Lindisfarne, exact numbers of women captives aren't recorded. No, 23 nuns in primary sources. But enslavement happened. The horror: these were often devout Christians, some possibly nuns or lay women, torn from sacred vows into pagan hands. The voyage north was torment. Chained in dark, reeking holds, fed scraps, denied privacy, a deliberate breaking. Vikings forced captives to labor, convert, or serve intimately. Concubines, frilla, were common. Christian women added humiliation, profaning a faith that condemned slavery of fellow believers. Life as a thrall was brutal. Labor, abuse, no rights. Children born to slaves had uncertain status, some recognized, others exposed or enslaved. Archaeological finds show foreign women in Scandinavian graves. Isotopes reveal British Isles origins. Bones marked by hard labor, violence, multiple births. Some graves make symbols: Christian crosses with Thor's hammers, fractured identities of captured women who lived decades in captivity, perhaps quietly keeping faith, teaching children, even influencing conversion. Over centuries, raids repeated: Iona again, Irish monasteries. Captives fueled Viking expansion. The irony? These violated women may have helped end paganism. As Christianity spread, 10th to 11th centuries, Viking kings converted, influenced by wives, mothers, or concubines from Christian lands who preserved faith in secret. A grave in Orkney, a woman from the British Isles, buried with crucifix and Thor's hammer, bones showing healed fractures and multiple pregnancies, likely a captive who endured, adapted, and bridged worlds. The Church? ashamed of failing to protect holy sites, downplayed details. Sagas romanticize Vikings, glossing over slavery's grim reality. The nuns, or women, of Lindisfarne have no names in chronicles. But their suffering was real. Their resistance, silent prayers, hidden crosses, heroic. They weren't just victims. In the long cold nights of captivity, they planted seeds that grew into Scandinavia's Christian future. Closing somber fade. The Viking Age began in blood and chains. But from that darkness came unexpected light. What do you think? Forgotten victims, or quiet forces of change? Comment below. If this chilled you, subscribe. We uncover history's darkest, hidden truths. Thralls, Old Norse, Arlel, were the enslaved underclass in Viking Age Scandinavia, roughly 793 to 1066 AD. Slavery was a core part of Norse society, not a side note, powering farms, households, raids, and trade. Estimates suggest thralls made up 10 to 25% of the population in some areas, with many captured from raids in the British Isles, Ireland, Eastern Europe, Slavs, the origin of the word, slave, or even born into bondage. Here are some key historical illustrations of Viking thralls and their world. Here are reconstructions and depictions of thralls at work. Note the simple clothing, labor-intensive tasks, and low status. Here are dramatic scenes of Viking raids capturing people. Thralls were often taken as booty from coastal monasteries and villages. Archaeology provides grim evidence. Graves with decapitated or mistreated bodies, likely sacrificed thralls buried with masters, iron collars/shackles from trading hubs like Dublin and Hedeby, and female skeletons from foreign origins showing signs of hard labor, violence, and multiple births. Daily life for a thrall was brutal and relentless. Work and roles: thralls handled the heaviest labor, farming fields, herding animals, chopping wood, mining, building ships, rowing longships, domestic chores, cooking, weaving, childcare, and construction. Male thralls often did grueling outdoor work. Female thralls, ambat, managed households but faced additional exploitation. Treatment and rights: thralls had no legal rights. They were property like livestock. Owners could beat, sell, kill, or abuse them without consequence. Sagas and laws show thralls were stereotyped as ugly or foolish, and mistreatment was common. Some were sacrificed in burials, beheaded or strangled to accompany dead masters into the afterlife, as in Flagstad and Grimstad graves. Diets were poor, seafood heavy for lower status individuals versus meat/milk for free people. Concubinage and sexual exploitation: female thralls were frequently used as concubines, frilla in some contexts, serving as sexual partners, producing children, and performing domestic duties. High-status men often had multiple concubines alongside wives. This created household tensions. Children from thralls had ambiguous status. Some were freed/recognized, rarely. Others remained enslaved or were exposed, left to die. Polygyny and concubinage fueled raids for women. Pathways out: freedom was possible but rare. Manumission, owner's gift, often in wills, earning enough to buy freedom, if allowed small earnings, or exceptional service, e.g., fighting for the master. Some thralls converted owners or integrated over generations. Archaeological and historical insights: iron collars from trading sites, foreign isotope skeletons in Scandinavian graves, e.g., women from British Isles with healed fractures and multiple pregnancies, and accounts from Arab travelers, like Ibn Fadlan, describe thralls' exploitation. Sagas romanticize Vikings, but hint at the grim reality. Slavery declined with Christianization, 10th to 11th centuries, as the Church discouraged it, but it was essential to Viking expansion. Here are examples of Viking graves with possible thrall evidence. Note the peripheral burials or signs of violence. Life as a thrall was no kinder Viking myth. It was a slave economy built on raids, violence, and dehumanization. The word thrall still means enslaved in English for a reason. What aspect of Viking society surprises you most? Drop it in the comments. If you'd like more on raids, daily life, or archaeology, let me know.